After Talk Radio, you're in to all things music.
The show will be the same no matter how many people are there, because if there's even one person in the audience, I'm still their therapist for the night, and we're still going to have this connective moment, and we're still going to interact. But there definitely is a rush. There's an adrenaline rush you get when there are multiple people and multiple levels. So we did the Las Vegas Electric Daisy Carnival.
Yes.
And let me tell you, like, that was 200 to 300,000 people that I was performing for. And whatever I told them to do, they were in the palm of my hand, and they did that. If I told them to fist pump, they fist pumped. If I told them to jump, they did it. And there was a rush there that I had never felt on that grand a scale before.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
You like it all right, yes. Your love makes me want to eat something. Maybe you wonder why my booty's been so wide in such a short time. I ain't gonna apologize. Your love makes me want to eat something. So come on, kiss me.
Hey, man, I'll tell you what I want to do right now is just jump into this amazing interview with this girl that her and I'm sure we've crossed paths, and I'll talk more about that in detail. Oh, heck, I should, remind everybody, this is Jackie Bertoni. This is Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Talk Radio, your connection to all things music. Guys, I'm excited about this. It's a Wednesday, December the 6th, and I've got in my studio today a young lady, that voice that was just blasting right there, soulful, songstress, amazing girl, and with definitely the old situation about the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. We'll get involved with that also. Her father and I go back more years than we want to talk about. So with that said, everybody, please welcome with open arms and open ears to Jackie's Groove, Selina Albright. Selina, welcome, sweetheart. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jackie. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, man. You know, we were chopping it up right before we got on the air itself. I mean, your daddy and I go back years, more years than we want to. In fact, I had the option and the opportunity to spend some time on stage with your dad at the Roxy. This is probably back in 1981, going back that far.
Oh, wow.
And with a girl by the name of Patrice Rushen, and there was a dual bill, a group called the Whispers, and Patrice Rushen, or what we call Baby Fingers, and for those out there who understand who Gerald Albright is, the father of this beautiful girl on the air right now, Gerald being a Grammy-nominated, amazing soulful saxophonist in his own right, to me the one that brought out R&B sax before Kenny G, before Dave Koz. He, to me, was the patriarch of that groove. And with that, Gerald's biggest, most popular, iconic song that wasn't his tune, but he lent his saxophone to, was a great song by Patrice Rushen called Forget Me Not. So that screaming saxophone is Gerald Albright. So that's where Gerald and I go back. And Gerald, I hope you're listening. If not, we're going to get this to you right away. And so now back to your offspring, Selina. I ask this question on a regular basis itself. When you're raised and you've got music all around you itself, but I'm always curious to find out, because I know how it was in my family, being an Armenian Italian household. But my mom and dad loved Latin music, so I grew up listening to salsa and cumbia and montunos and so on, and it's how I developed myself into percussion. But with that said, what was coming through the speakers at the Albright house? Would you share with us, please?
A lot of times it was gospel. We listened to some R&B. We had a lot of Mint Condition. And what's funny? We like to listen to comedy DVDs. Robin Harris, even though I didn't know what the jokes meant at that age.
Of course.
And then, musically speaking, we also listened to my dad's music a lot, because he would always be in the car. Whenever we'd go somewhere, he would critique whatever he did so he could make the next record better. So all of his saxophone solos from way back then, I have them memorized note by note. verbatim because
As
that's
you
what we
should.
listen to a lot of times. Yeah.
Were you what's the word I want to use? Were you rebellious against that music? There was something that Selena really wanted. Were you the typical little girl that grew up listening to David Cassidy and the stuff that was in Tiger Beat magazine? Or what did you gravitate towards?
I really liked pop music, to be
Okay.
honest. Yeah. So I liked Madonna, Billy Idol, Boy George. I liked all of them. But then my mom realized that I didn't know how to dance and I didn't have rhythm. So at a very early age, she started introducing me to Aretha Franklin, Gladys Knight and the Pips. You know what I mean? Whitney Houston, she introduced me to early on Mariah Carey. And so, and then the greats like Ella Fitzgerald and Dinah Washington and Billie Holiday. And she taught me how to dance. And so I couldn't help but get it from both sides, all of those influences.
Let me ask you this question. I think is really important to find out. But growing up in the household of the Albrights itself and being, afflicted with all of this great music and all the people that probably more likely were your aunt and uncles that were famous people to us, and that was always surrounding yourself. And when you would aspire to be this great singer or the singer that you really aspired to be, when was it, if you can think back really far, that you realized that you had quote unquote it? That you had it, that you were singing and you knew you could make money doing this? Share with us.
That actually didn't happen until adulthood. I remember I was between 23 and 24 years old. And that's when I decided to really pursue this as a full-time career. All the rest of the times I said, you know what, I'm not ready, to really do this full-time. I'm not sure. 'Cause I was really afraid of success and I was afraid of failure at the same time. And I saw all the things my dad had to go through to get where he is.
Right.
And so I was a little nervous about it for a long time. And I said, look, I just want to go to school to make sure I have a plan B. So I have 2 degrees now. And I
share with us. What do you have? What degrees do you have?
I have studio art in the area of digital photography, and then the other one is in psychology. So,
there's a dichotomy there.
I still use it. Yeah.
And I think it's a great situation. I'm sorry, honey, you got a delay here because I'm saying when you're up on stage and you're gauging that crowd, I think it's a lot got to do with a lot of psychology to figure out exactly where you're going to be, if you're going to change that set list up because you've got to grab them to a certain level. Do you find that's been a benefit of having that psychology education behind you when it comes to being on stage?
Yes, it definitely helps me to understand how to connect with audiences. So I realize I'm kind of like their musical therapist. I'm helping them to forget whatever it is they had on their shoulders when they walked in to whatever venue I'm singing for. So I like to look them in the eye. I like to gesture toward them. I like to take them away from all of that and then help them really it's like a Calgon take me away type situation. When you buy a ticket, to go to these concerts, you really don't want to think about your troubles. And so I try to make that experience and connective an experience as possible. And it does help to be able to read their faces, whether they're interested in what I'm doing or whether they want to hear something more upbeat, something slower or more dramatic. It does really help.
And that is so cool that you say that because we were blessed to be I don't know if I had been blessed, but I was the last person to interview the late, great Mr. Al Jarreau. And Al and I, we chopped it up, and he actually came to my home, and we sat here for almost 4 hours with Paul and Florentino, the CEO, and we were just all utterly amazed by the genuine heart this man had. And I'd asked him, I said, Al, I said, through all the greatness that you've accomplished in your life itself, what do you like more? Do you like the huge festivals or do you like the small, intimate surroundings? And it was interesting. He said, you know what? I love Montreux. I love the festivals, 30,000 plus people. He goes, but my preference, even at my older age now, is I like to be in a small little speakeasy where I'm sitting down and I can hear the people in the front row breathing. And I can look over and say, that beautiful woman in the black dress and your husband next to you, allow me to, to sweat on your blue suede shoes. And, that's a situation. So with that question in engaging an audience, do you have a preference of a larger audience or does it not matter to you if there's 2 people in the audience? What's your preference?
The show will be the same no matter how many people are there, because if there's even one person in the audience, I'm still their therapist for the night, and we're still going to have this connective moment, and we're still going to interact. I like it small too, but there definitely is a rush. There's an adrenaline rush you get when there are multiple people and multiple levels of arena seating. Like I've been in that situation before where I was doing electronic dance music with a group called Manufactured Superstars. And so we did the Las Vegas Electric Daisy Carnival.
Yes.
And let me tell you, like that was 200 to 300,000 people that I was performing for. And whatever I told them to do, they were in the palm of my hand, and they did that. If I told them to fist pump, they fist pumped. If I told them to jump, they did it. And there was a rush there that I had never felt on that grand a scale before that is unmistakable, that I would want to do over and over again. So I think there are benefits to both. But for me, I tend to be a little bit socially awkward sometimes. So I like that intimate feel because it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. Like, okay, I can handle this. And plus, I can really reach you. I can touch you if there are only, hundreds of people in the audience rather than thousands and hundreds of thousands.
That is so cool that you said that, because I look back to 1991. Let's go back all the way back then. I was working with this group, and I say small group, but I say it with tongue in cheek. They were huge, called CNC Music Factory. And, with Frederick Williams and Martha and Washington. And we played at a big thing. We played at the Rose Bowl, a big, huge festival for Dick Clark for 4th of July. And, I'm a former jock, all the way through college and football player and stuff. And I was more amazed at being on the field at the Rose Bowl, thinking about how many great hooves, ran across this gridiron. But when the stage lights went up and we had 100,000 people around us, Selina, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. I was scared to death. And the reason being is this, just the fact is like, with these, as soon as we started doing the everybody dance, and the crowd just went insane. Yeah. And then I'm freaking myself out. And we also had the Fly Girls from Living Color, and Jennifer Lopez and Carrie and Nava, and they were dancing with us and so on before Jennifer Lopez was Jennifer Lopez. But I don't preferably like the big crowds myself. I like to be there where I can actually see somebody. But I got to ask you this question and be honest with me. The last name Albright, has that been a benefit to you, or has it been a hindrance to you in your career?
I've never allowed it to be a hindrance, ever.
Okay.
My family and I we each support each other so much that it's never really been a competition. And at one point, people were asking me over and over again, do you feel like you need to fill Gerald Albright's shoes? I'm like, that's my dad. That's my dad at work. And, we do two totally separate things, but then we also get the blessing of working together. Absolutely. So it never really, it was more something other people imposed upon me, like, oh, those are big shoes to fill, rather than something that I actually felt. My dad always encouraged me, and he always gave me lots of tools to be great. And so if I was willing to use those tools, it was all in my hands what I decided to do with it. And so there was never that pressure of having to be, the same as my dad. I always had something different going on.
And it's a good question. I mean, a good question and a great answer, because, and I think also the part about when I was saying a hindrance is the fact about nepotism. And when you carry the name Albright, I mean, are you expected to be at the level of dad, or is, when I mean, the fact is that when you're bringing it on, are people afraid to hire Selina because they know if things don't go right, they're going to have the wrath of Gerald coming down on them? I love the fact in social media.
There's a little bit of that.
Okay, I would think there is. And also, let me ask you this question. When you're opening up for Daddy, the last thing you had up on social media is you and your father were eating food at a great restaurant in Chicago. This was probably about 4 or 5 months ago. I remember that photo because I thought it was so endearing to have Daddy and daughter, gigging together. Now, when you're opening up for Pops itself, are you doing a 30, 45 minute hour set? How long is Dad giving you to play?
It's usually 30 minutes because he's got 90 minutes and they do a 2-hour show. That's about, as much as people can handle without an intermission in between.
Now, are you playing with Daddy's band, or are you carrying your own players?
I usually play with Dad's band. I think it's a lot more cost effective that way. And plus,
of course,
a lot of members of my dad's band at any given point have probably worked with me too. So it just makes it easier. We all have become musical family. You know, Chris Big Dog Davis. You know who he is, right? He
Right.
produced a lot of Dad's record, mine too, on Conversations. But then we've also performed live together a lot, and we've become like uncle and niece. You know, Corey
love
Baker
it.
on bass, James
Yes.
Rob Roberson on keys. We share a lot of the same musicians depending on what city we're performing in. So I usually use his band. Yeah.
Okay, and so when you're up on stage and you're belting it out and you're in your first 10 minutes or maybe the last of the 30, is there ever a time when you're looking out and Daddy is to the left or right wings and he's looking at you and he's got this admiration that he's a proud daddy itself? Does that make your heart warm, or does that kind of scare you to have Daddy looking at you on stage?
No, I love when Dad watches because he's like a source of comfort for me. You know, he's that voice of calm. He's like, all right, you know, go out there and kill it. That's what he always tells me before I go on stage. And he'll get dressed early, even before he knows he needs to be dressed, so that he can be on the side of the stage, you know, supporting me. And if my mom comes, she's out in the audience. She's dancing, doing all my same dance moves, and we're mirroring each other. So our family is just that supportive and close with each other that it doesn't feel like pressure to me. It actually is a source of peace and comfort. And it's fun because Dad and I get to share the honor of being musicians, and sharing that with the world has been huge for us to do together. And it's created a really strong bond between us.
You know, and I say this because when you're up there and you're killing it and everything else, and, you know, I always ask people that parents who are not musicians, that are parents that are mom and dad and then the audience itself, but isn't that a great feeling? I know how it was before I lost my mom. My mom saw me through the, through the big time, you know, the big leagues and so on and so forth, but I'm still her son. You know, I was still Jackie. It wasn't that person on stage, and, you know, and you're still going to be Selina. You're still going to be the girl that that mom and daddy changed the diapers on. But what I'm saying about that, when you're looking out in the audience and mama's looking up at you and so on, can you spot them in the audience? Do you know where mom and dad are sitting?
Yeah.
And that look in their eye when they're smiling, how does that not warm your heart? How does that not warm their heart that they produced you in more ways than one? You know, and
my parents, without my dad losing his man card, they usually get very emotional. My whole family gets emotional about each other. Yeah, when we see each other perform. You know, me and my mom, we've watched Dad way back. I mean, they're a rags to riches story. We were in the hood and we would eat the same thing for every meal. And now to see him on stage doing his thing and being the legend he is. Me and Mom are on the side of the stage cheering. We're jumping around. Every time he hits those high notes, you know, we're like kind of crossing our fingers like, is he going to do it? Yes. Yeah. Okay, he's got a good read in his saxophone. Like, we're over there cheering him on like it's a sports event. And so it does. It kind of makes you choke up a little bit, especially on ballads. You know,
Selina, what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to jump in on it because my stereo feed is degrading here. So as we're coming out of this last segment right now, we've got 10 seconds. I don't want anybody to go anywhere. I'm going to sign off, but you're going to stay on, girl. I come right back. I want everybody just to enjoy this conversation that I'm having with Selina Albright. This is Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio. You connect all things music. Guys, don't go anywhere. Segment number 2, right around the corner. Stay. We'll be right back.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
This is Morris O'Connor, guitarist for Earth, Wind & Fire, and you listen to my good buddy Jackie Bertoni on Jackie's Groove.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
And it's alright to be just who I am, not who you want me to be. The light is on, no longer afraid. When I get weak, you still accept me the same. Feels like forever.
Everybody, welcome back to segment number 2 of Jackie's Groove. My name is Jackie Bertoni, and the network is called Intertalk Radio. Connect all things music. Guys, before I go any further, Selena, let me just do a little bit of business for the listeners out there worldwide. When you can't listen to me live or the plethora of shows that we have on the network live, do yourselves a favor and do us a favor. Go on to iTunes or Google and download our easy-to-use and easy-to-navigate application, 2 words, Intertalk, second radio, and take Jackie's Groove and our other shows on the network with you on the go. You don't want to miss a thing. And I'm glad you guys are live right now because I'm having a great time. I pardoned ourselves for the technical glitch a little while ago. Miss Albright was burning up our studio here, and we're going to pick it up now that the flames have mellowed out. I have to ask you a question, girl. Let's talk about that song we just came on the second segment with. Tell the audience about that and where they can get that tune.
You can always go on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, or anywhere else that music is sold, and it's also streamable. So you can find it on Pandora, Spotify. I'm really everywhere. And also there was a Japanese release for those who want a hard copy in Japan. You can actually get that by ordering it from Tower Records. And my website is selinaalbright.com. If you go to the online store there, you can get an autographed hard copy, and
Beautiful.
Me and my team will ship it directly to your door.
And let's talk about conversations. I mean, you're talking about a special edition release that was released in 2017 throughout the Japanese territories. I mean, I got to tell you something. I am a little bit jealous of the love of music that comes out of Japan. They value music differently than than we do here. I mean, to the fact that they still have 38 viable Tower record stores in full business out there. I hope America gets it eventually, and it will all come back. And everything good comes back. I hope this is the face, because David Grohl from the Foo Fighters stated the fact that in the next 3 years, he feels that record stores will be back in business in America. I hope he's right, man, because
I would love that.
As I say things, Selena, you're old enough to remember situations on Record Release Tuesday, and you would go out and buy a tangible
Walmart.
CD. Yeah, and you would crack it open. And let's say, for instance, for Daddy's albums, you would crack it open and you would slide a thing out called, now listen, kids, millennials, this is called liner notes. And this is something that pays homage to everybody that had everything to do with that album, all the way down to somebody who put on Selena's makeup or helped, and who came up with the album cover and who came up with the thank you notes. And that's something that a lot of the artists now that are coming out on iTunes and Google Play and so on, that you can do a digital download of liner notes. I highly recommend that, because we got to give credit to where credit's due. Now, let me ask you this question, girl. In this digital age that we're talking about, and you being surrounded by the who's who of players, when you are in the studio, we'll talk about your writing motivations, but when you're in the studio, are you actually in a studio? I am a culprit because I am a Logic and I'm a Pro Tools guy here at my own studio. But are you eventually, with your music coming out after you do the basic beats and the rhythm section and so on, are you using live players or are you using programming? Share with us.
It's a mixture of both. Because I have such a strong jazz influence and background, I can't hear music without having some sort of live element in it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It just sounds kind of empty to me. I have to have somebody who's got their fingers working in there somewhere. And I really love, live vocals with, I know it's important to put auto-tune on things now just for the quality of things, but
Sure.
I really love the fact that I don't need auto-tune. I like it to be as natural as possible, but as fresh as possible and find that balance.
Amen.
So I do use legitimate studios. The two studios I used, one of them was my father's studio that he has at the Albright estate. And
Mhm.
then I used James J. Rob Roberson, his studio that he has in his basement as well.
Mhm.
And recently for things, I've been using some studios in Dallas where I've moved this past year. And I've laid some work there too. I've learned what my favorite mics are and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of a mixture between doing things at home and just doing scratch vocals and scratch
Mhm.
tracks, and then having a producer who's got an actual studio and live musicians that they can put in. A lot of it was done from a distance. We can do that now in the digital age. We can actually send a track to somebody and have them put their ingenious whatever they're going to do and share and contribute
Absolutely.
onto it. And then we mix everything together after that's done. We did a lot of that for this project too, which is magical because it sounds like we're all in the same room.
And Selina, let me qualify to the listeners out there that are non-musicians. When Selina said a little while ago, a scratch vocal, let me make that in layman terms. It's not the vocal that ends up on the recording. It's a reference. It's like when I record as a percussionist, and if it's a recording with a track of vocals, I always want, and sometimes it's not even the vocalist, sometimes it's the producer, sometimes it's somebody that has a decent voice that's going to put down a scratch reference so I don't step on areas of, of the same instrument that, may screw up the intonation and so on. So what it is, it's basically, it's a template, if you will. And with that said itself,
Right.
Selina, when you go in and I want to know for the listeners out there, for the musicians out there and vocalists, how much pre-production goes into your projects, or do you jump in and get your feet wet right away?
Oh, I jump in right away and get my feet wet. I
Okay.
really like using GarageBand on my computer, and I'll sit there and tinker with it until I get what is going on in my head or something
Mhm.
close to it, and then I'll send that to, one of my producers that I really love working with. But sometimes I'll just sing a melody over the phone to one of them, and they'll be able to
Cool.
build a track based off of that. So that's really cool. But a lot of times the way I sing my melodies, it's easy for a producer to come up with it because chances are I've told them what the chords are, what the bass notes are that I'm thinking in my head, and then they'll add something else fresh to make it a little bit, kind of spunkier, a little fresher. And so it all works together that way. There is a lot of involvement from the very beginning, but I like when I can let another artist or producer shine, and then we can just see what happens because the collaborative process is really important to me too.
Now, let me ask you this question, and this is a question coming from a man who's been married 34 years. Just
Yes.
celebrated 34 years. Had a great interview earlier this
Congratulations.
year. Thank you, love. I had a great interview earlier this year with my dear friend, Sayeda Garrett. And Sayeda and I go back years.
Yeah.
But I have to ask this question because I know better as a married man. But I want to know, let's talk about you being a female. Now, when you are in the studio, and if you're in for the lack of a better word, a shitty mood, or if you are just, not dealing with things and so on, do you find yourself staying away from that and staying away from your hormonal emotions, or are you a easy producer to work with? Are you an easy writer to work with? Or do you find yourself at all times that you can find yourself being a bitch, for the lack of a better word?
No, I don't think that I'm ever like that unless I feel disrespected in some way.
Dig it. Okay.
So, like, if someone shows up and they're not prepared, I take that personally because it's like, look, I'm paying you.
Hello.
I gave you all the stuff you needed, probably because I'm pretty organized. I gave you all the stuff that you needed early, and you still came up, and now you have excuses. That's when it's not okay. But music is a way for me to have therapy too, as much as it's going to be therapy for someone else later. I don't even have to write a journal, really. I have a lyric booklet that I use, and I have little snippets and Post-it notes and stuff. And so, this is all a positive thing for me to kind of release stress. It's not supposed to bring on stress, even though sometimes it happens when you're trying to meet deadlines and whatnot. But I work with people that I really like, who I can vibe with. And I've been really blessed to have some awesome people in my life and, who've crossed my path that I've said, oh my gosh, one day I'm going to work with you. And that's the story between me and Keita Matsuno. He is an amazing guitarist. I worked with him one time, and I'll never forget, what he brought to that show, because he was a sub for Adam Hawley that day. And we were in Catalina.
Had a great interview with Adam 3 months ago. Adam and I chopped it up. So, an amazing,
He's amazing,
young
right?
guitarist. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and so smart. And so he subbed like one of the best people I could have ever been introduced to, and that was Keita Matsuno. And I told him that after that show, I said, we're going to work together one day. And 4 years later, here we have conversations, and he's on the first single. So I've been blessed to cross paths with so many great musicians, and I surround myself with people who are positive and just, ready to work and ready to have some fun, behind our instruments. And I do that on purpose so that it can be a positive thing, because I really don't like negativity in my studio.
Oh, because there's negativity. We don't have to go out of the studio for negativity. It's around us all day long.
Right.
I got to tell you something, and as I said to you off air, I'm a fan of yours. I've been a fan for you for a while. That's why I came. And the cool thing about having a top rated radio show, I can go after and get the greatest people. I mean, one of my dear friends, Rick Scott, we thank Rick from the bottom of our heart. He comes to us and says, hey man, would you do us a favor? And would you interview? I go, do us a favor. Let's do them a favor, and I'm so honored because, now I can put you on the roster because my dear friends, I like to say that you and I go back years, our names go back years, but people like Lynn Mabry and then Lynn Fittemont, who I just had on, and Rebecca Jade. And these are all these amazingly talented women that, damn it, they look good too, So that's that whole situation, and when you're out there killing it. But I have to ask you this question. So your name, Selina Albright's on an album. Does Selina have the final word on her recordings?
Oh, always. My name is going to be on this.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I definitely take constructive criticism. I take suggestions, and I really take them to heart because I like to have somebody else's ears and eyes on things. But I always have the final say, and I always decide who I'm going to trust if I can't decide.
Dig it.
And I have some very smart people around me who can advise me in those areas. And, I take suggestions, but I always have the final word. It's very important to me that my audience sees me and what I've chosen, and all the decisions I've made musically, and the things that I've decided to share about my life, some of it, a lot of it being personal. And so if they're not getting me, that defeats the purpose, right?
Yeah, let me ask you this question. Of all the releases that you've had out, and again, I always determine, I don't want to overuse it, but be honest, because I can only say, when I don't have my own album out, but I'm on many of the greatest albums in music history, and I'm very proud of that. But when I listen to a certain track, I'm going to put this back on you. When you have a release out there and you're sitting back and you've got your headphones on, or if you're driving and you're listening to this girl named Selina Albright, do you listen to something and go, shit, I shouldn't have done that? Or are you 100% secure when that goes to mastering, that there's no recall? Are you happy all the way around when it comes to that?
There's always a part of me that's trying to perfect it even more. And if I gave in to that, I probably would never release anything, because I would be like, wait, let me fix this one note. Wait, let me fix this one instrument. And
there's where the psychology comes in.
So I have to consciously, it's a conscious effort to just let it be what it is and appreciate that is a snapshot of where I was at that point in my life. And then I've started to appreciate the magic of imperfections, you know, as I've progressed. And people love the imperfections. Like the one note that I hate in a song that I want to change and perfect, you know, I'll be sitting with the producer and he'll be like, no, we're not changing that. That had all the sauce on it. We're not doing it. Just listen to it one more time. Listen to it one more time. And I'll be like, really? Then I'll listen to it one more time.
I love what you just said.
I get it.
I love what you just said. Had all the sauce on it. That is, that, you know, it's like exactly, you know, what someone's taste in someone's mouth may be different than somebody else's, but it's good to have that situation where you keep an open mind that the producer can tell you, Selina, you know what? I'm not feeling this. And, you know, and what I want to ask you, you know, and I want you to listen to this when I'm saying this, you know, we have a lot of very big, famous people that listen to Jackie's Groove on a regular basis, and I'm really honored. Right. So here's your opportunity. I'm going to ask you a question, but everybody you work with, let's talk about a bucket list. Who, as a vocalist, do you find yourself working with? Who would you love to work with? Share with me.
Laila Hathaway, hands down. And we're, you know, we consider each other family members, but we've never worked together musically
yet.
And I think God's just waiting for the time to be ripe. But if I perform or record with Laila Hathaway, I got to be on my A game because she is the bomb. So
you know,
whenever the time is right and the stars align, I think that, oh man, I'd love that.
And let me ask Paul. Paul, you're right there, baby boy. We're pretty close to getting. We got our feelers out with Laila right now. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're probably better off asking Megan about that. I just punched the buttons.
Yeah, you're the COO also, so don't act like you don't know what you're doing. Because I'm curious because I always throw things out there, and I don't know why the word Hathaway came across. We'll ask Florentino. Is he in the studio, by the way?
Yeah, he's around.
Okay, he's floating around. Okay, we'll grab back onto that.
Okay, so the next segment.
All right, perfect. So Selina, let me ask this question as we're coming out of this second segment. You see how this blows by, and I'm going to also throw this back to you too, as I do with all of my artists. When Selina Albright has a new album that supersedes Conversations, we want to welcome you back. We're all about promotion. We're all about the connection of music. So when something comes out, Rick Scott or yourself personally, reach out to us, and we'll definitely schedule you in. Because again, to being the benefit of having your own show, I can interview the people that I'm a fan of, you know, and as I'm a fan here.
That's so sweet. I'd love that.
No, it's all about business, and I feel a little bit of a need because of all the things that your dad has taught me over the years, and all the great music he's brought over too, and that infectious Gerald Albright smile. And for those who know Gerald, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So with that said, girls, we're coming out of segment number 2. We're going to go into segment number 3. The next segment is all about Selina, not that this hasn't been already, but we're going to sit there and share exactly how we can put some money in your pocket and how people can stalk you in a professional way. So with that said, guys, don't go anywhere. I hope you're having a great time like I am. Again, my name is Jackie Bertoni. Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio. You connect to all things music, and my in-studio guest, the soulful songstress, if I may put that on you, Selina Albright. And we're going to talk more about everything about Selina, and also, too, how we can be able to see her live. And we'll share that on the next and the last segment also of this 1-hour interview. Guys, don't go anywhere. But you don't want to miss a thing. Stay tuned. Segment number 3 right around the corner. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Michael McDonald, and you're listening to my good buddy Jackie Bertoni on Jackie's Groove.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the final segment number 3 of Jackie's Groove. I'm Jackie Bertoni, and the Intertalk Radio Network is your source and your connect to all things music. Guys, I want to take a couple seconds here. I want to thank all of our great sponsors. First and foremost, Pitbull Audio, Calvin Lee and the Motley Crew at pitbullaudio.com, where they just want you to play it loud. The biggest consortium of all electronics. Go and visit that site. Go spend some money. Also, to people that I'm biased to, Sabian Cymbals, my cymbal company of choice for the past 24 years, Sabian.com, and also Vater, VATER.com, percussion, my drumstick choice for the past 25 years. DW, Drum Workshop Incorporated, the world's greatest drum company. Thank you, Don Lombardo, Chris Lombardo, and also John Good for your sponsorship, and someone I'm really most biased to, and that's LP Music, lpmusic.com, going on 28 years of endorsing that company. So back to reality. Business is paid. The cash register is now closed. Let's get back to this beautiful girl by the name of Selina Albright. Selina, you know what? We always say that, we're not a standalone. We have to surround ourselves by people who know what they're doing. You just talked to Paul now a little while ago, and the man of all different hats, the COO of the corporation, and also the greatest engineer. My producer, who Rick talks to all the time, Megan Wynn, and Cedric also, too, who handles things. But the person that's really carries around the hat and really, really keeps this thing going is this gentleman I'm going to bring on right now. He's the CEO of our network. Not only that, he's my buddy. I love him like a brother. And he's also a fan. So he always asks me, he goes, hey, man, can I come on and talk? I said, absolutely. So with that said, Selina, I want you to say hi to Florentino. Florentino, please say hi to Selina.
Hey, Selina, how you doing?
Hi, Florentino. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. It looks like I got to pay Jackie another $20 to say good things about me. So.
Absolutely.
It sounds like you paid him $50. That was a really good introduction.
You're right. Dang, now money's just going out of my pocket right now.
It was really good.
Well, hey, you know what?
It's so nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you. And you know what? No matter what I'm paying, it's worth it because he's got great talent like you coming on our network, and I can only say that we're blessed.
I'm really blessed to be on this show. This is so great to have this platform. Thank you for just having me.
Well, thank
you. This is really cool.
Thank you, and always thanks to Rick Scott. If you're listening, Rick, man, we love you, brother.
Oh my gosh.
He represents nothing but the best talent, and that is definitely you. And he always remembers us when he's making sure that talent is getting recognized, and that's what the network's all about, is spotlighting the people who are the movers and shakers, and getting an insight into the industry and being able to let people in and share, with your experiences, your music, the things that inspired you and the passions, because we don't always get that through traditional media. I would say the traditional forms of media, because they're not always as industry focused as our network is, and we wanted to make that opportunity available, and that's what this segment's about. This segment's all about how people can stalk you, if you will, but in a good way, guys. Don't stalk her in a bad way, because that can happen. Trust me, we've heard some horror stories. But how can they find out more about you? Your URLs, your social media. If you got Morse code going on and people need to learn Morse code, tell us how this can work to find you.
I wish I did know Morse code. That would be great in an emergency. But I'm at www.selinaalbright.com. It's very important how you spell it, because you don't want to find Selena Gomez. You want to find
me. There you
go.
go.
It's Selina, and last name is Albright. And you can find me at Selina Albright on Twitter, SoundCloud, Facebook, Instagram, even Snapchat. You'll see the day-to-day stuff going on. And right now that I'm on tour, I'm on the Dave Koz 20th anniversary Christmas tour.
Oh, yeah, Dave.
And
awesome.
On a daily basis, I've been posting on the Instagram, Snapchat, because people want to know what happens behind the scenes and what a day in the life of Selina Albright and all these other great legendary artists looks like.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so you can keep in touch with me there. If you go to SelinaAlbright.com, become an email list member, on the first page you'll see a pop-up. That means that you'll get emails directly from me or my team, and we'll be telling you all the latest news that you may not even find on social media. So there are many ways to learn more about the whole Selina Albright
experience.
Movement,
the
experience,
movement.
Yes.
No, that is awesome.
Stuff's happening that's really exciting.
It's kind of crazy how this this works nowadays, and I love it, and then it's also a pain in the ass, because I don't miss the days where the recording artists were removed from their fans and the people that care about them, because there was a time when your whole experience with an artist was going to a concert and they're on stage, and maybe they glanced your way if you happen to be in the first few rows, but if not, you're kind of connecting them that way. And then you read a magazine, or if you're lucky they were big enough that they might be on a talk show, and you get a little bit of information that way. But now with the social media, it's there, but just keeping up with that,
it's all out there.
I mean, you made me tired just saying all the stuff that you're doing. That's crazy.
Hey, Florentino, boss, can I ask you? I'm going to ask my boss a question real quick, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I am.
No, you cannot get an advance again. You don't.
Okay. I just noticed through you guys BCCing me, Megan, my segment producer, and you. Am I stretching out right? But I thought I saw the name Lalah Hathaway come across a couple times. Are we on her trail right now?
We're doing what we can for all the great artists. So,
Okay.
But this is definitely a Selena show. So, and I'm not talking about Selena from, the movie. We're talking about the lady.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're going to talking about this amazing voice that we've got in front of us. So, yeah,
we're gonna try our best to get Lalah and Selena together. That would be great.
Definitely.
So
we were talking about you, by the way. I was at Larry Dunn's concert in Pasadena. And we were sitting at a table, and a bunch of us were talking about you. And I was like, "Yeah, she's gonna be on the show this week." So that was my promotion. So your name is out in the social circles. So.
Bravo!
So cool.
So that's
it's cool.
Awesome.
I have people who worked with me, or just have known how hard I work and how long it's been, because I've been working at this for about 20 years now, just being in the music business to some degree, whether it was full-time or what.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're all congratulating me. Now I'm in my own bubble over here, and I'm just putting all this work out there and saying, hey, here's how you can get in touch with, like, how you can find out about the music. But other people are now congratulating me for, the success that I've had. And I'm like, okay, it's happening. People are saying it.
Man.
This is good. So, and it's really easy to get in that bubble when you're so focused. But I've actually seen some traction, and I feel so excited about it. You have no idea.
God is good,
so
man.
Exciting.
Absolutely.
God is so good.
That he is.
dig.
That he is for sure. And like I said, my aspirations for the music industry are really strong. I think that, as an industry as a whole, and as like, as we embrace, like you're embracing social media and other things, I think the artists are really going to have a more control over their careers. And, and I think that's a positive. But I think there's some dynamics within this industry that are still uncertain on how these are going to be addressed. Obviously, the whole, how do you get paid nowadays? That's always a good one. It's like, how do we get? We got all this great music, we got all this great talent, and we got people, fans. How do we get paid now? But
right, it's getting tougher and tougher, especially with streaming and with people being able to download things straight off of a YouTube video. They can actually strip it, and I'm like, no, it's not the highest quality. You're not getting everything, and plus, don't do that to the artist. So
Stop stealing music.
Actually, I'm an advocate. Yeah, exactly. I'm an advocate with the Recording Academy, a district advocate, and we just had Advocacy Day. I believe it was October 19th. This past October, and we're trying to get more representation and more royalties and just radio fees. For musicians, just so we can make something off of everything that's being done with what we created. It is getting more and more difficult. Well, but I hope that changes soon.
Here's kind of an interesting dichotomy with that. So if an artist gets played on terrestrial radio, they get way more money than if they get played on internet radio. And that's kind of that is a big problem. I think who was it? There was a producer who put out a thing where he showed where he got paid for a Justin Bieber project he did, and it was Spotify with millions of listens only paid him like four figures, and it was just ridiculous. And then of course with thousands of listens on terrestrial, he got paid six figures. But the challenge is terrestrial is perceived of as a advertising medium that is more impactful, which is not necessarily the case. So what ends up happening is the internet stations get paid pennies compared to the terrestrial, and that's where the challenge happens within this. So there has to be from a business change, not from a creative change. There has to be a mind switch from people realizing that exposure is exposure, and it shouldn't be a change where you're getting paid for 1,000 listeners, thousands of dollars, and then an internet radio station is getting paid hundreds of dollars, and that's where the challenge. That's where the challenge faces with us. And I think for us, at least from how we see it, I kind of like to put this out there. I think part of this is the industry is going to go back to where it was a long time ago. I'm not talking about the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. I'm talking about to the 1500s, 1600s with the days of Mozart and Beethoven. And there's a certain patronage that the socialites would have for these artists, where they would actually, to be aligned with a Mozart, they would give that artist X amount of dollars. They'd support that artist. It's the best way to put it. So I think corporations are going to be the ones that are stepping up to help support the art. So I think that's just something for us to kind of wrap around our head. So I just throw that out there. Just something I've been thinking about.
I hope it starts happening, because I pay out of pocket to get my songs to be played on the radio, so I don't actually get money back off of that. I get you're paying for promotion to happen, and that's kind of been the case. And I think that's what we're actually trying to do as well as here, is help plug artists in with we talk with sponsors all the time, and that's kind of how we're going to, at least for our side, that's how we're going to start hopefully making a change with this in this industry, is connecting the right artists with their with companies that have a message that will support their the direction of their music, the spirit of of their hearts and their passions within that music, and vice versa. Not I don't want to say commercialize it or exploit it, but really kind of help empower it. Both those working together. So that's just a little thought that we have over here at Intertalk Radio, and I wanted to share that with you.
Perfect, brother.
And I love the fact that you guys are trying to do that. I think that's a really good step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So that it can be about the music and so that, we can create and, get something from that. I think that's really, really important.
Well, that's
because we have to eat something too.
The heart has to come.
Yeah.
Heart has to come back into music.
Exactly.
I really love music today, and most people don't. But what I do miss is the heart of what once was. Because technically, I think there's a lot of advances that I've heard these the young people do in music today that are like, wow, that's pretty creative or that's inventive. Yeah. But the commitment to the passion, to the heart, to the authenticity of it, that's where we need to see a return. And that's when you have a blend of music where it could reach young and established people, matured people like your music, I think that's just a wonderful thing.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. I've commandeered Jackie's show long enough. Thanks, Jackie.
I've done enough to you, my brother.
For having my soapbox here. So, all right. Well, Selina, you have a wonderful rest of your show, and we'll be in touch for sure in the near future.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
So, Selina, let me ask you a question, girl.
Yeah.
In the last 2 minutes of this conversation, it's a question my wife came up with, and I use it for everybody, and everybody loves this question. So I'm going to throw it back at you because this is like my mainstay. If Selina Albright, the word music was never, ever introduced to you, there was no music, period, what would Selina be doing today?
Okay, I'm pausing because I have no idea. I really don't. Music has always been a part of my life, and it's always fueled everything else. So if it weren't there, well, I was studying to become an art therapist and a school counselor. So I'd be doing desk work right now and working with kids.
See, and I love that. I love that pause, because that pause, if I can get $1 for every microsecond of that person's wait when I ask that question to get that response, it's such a great thing, because I don't know what the hell I'd be doing, when it's all there itself. And I think it was just a brilliant question, when my wife Caprice came up with that question, and the response from everybody is that pause or, wow, what a question. And I think that's fair enough. I mean, I think you answered that question. And there's something I want to ask also, and it's really, really, and I appreciate that response. Just because the old and the new, when you're playing live on stage with Dad's band, or in this case with Dave Koz, and this last, make it real quick, I'll make it real quick to you. When you're on stage, being a vocalist, are you a slave to in-ear monitors, or do you still love that wedge that's in front of you, or is there a wedge in front of you?
I do a mixture of both. I switch back and forth. For this tour, it's been in-ear monitors, and I actually like those better. I still hear a little bit of bleed from the audience. I can hear a little bit of what they're doing, and I purposefully don't want to drown them out, by having perfectly molded ears. I like them to be a little bit loose so I can still connect. But I find that I can hear myself sing a lot better with in-ear monitors.
Okay, and and speaking of singing, I want everybody to go on to SelinaAlbright.com. I want you to also go to find out where you can listen to this woman live, because I know I'm going to be searching it out. And Selina, again, I thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Everybody at Intertalk Radio thanks you for accepting this invitation. I mean, again, this is a platform you have now been jumped in, as Florentino says. You can't jump out. And we also want to make you part of the family. So whatever we can do to help forward your career, by all means, reach out for us. So with that said, everybody, I want everybody to thank Selina Albright for gracing Jackie's Groove and Intertalk Radio with her great stories itself. Selina, the door's open. We love you, girl. I always say, finishing up all my broadcasts, 3 favorite words. It's called peace through music. Pray for peace, everybody. Selina, thank you, my girl. We love you.
Jackie.
Thank you so much. Give Daddy a big hug for me, man, and give Mr. Khan a big hug from us also. So with that said, guys, Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, Intertalk Radio, connect all things music. Selina, I love you, girls. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get off the
Love you back.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.